Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to dive deep into the evolution of leadership. You know, the tactics that were solid gold just a few years ago, well, a lot of them are quickly becoming obsolete. So, what does it really mean to lead and have influence in the world we live in now? Let's get into it. So let me just start by asking you this, straight up. Is your leadership style becoming obsolete? I know, it's a tough question to ask yourself, but in a world that's changing at lightning speed, our leadership has to evolve right along with it. Sticking to the old ways doesn't just feel kind of dated, it's actually holding you and your team back.
All right, so to really get where leadership is going, we have to first understand where it's been. Let's talk about what I like to call the old leadership playbook. These are those traditional command and control tactics that probably feel super familiar, right? But the thing is, they're really struggling to keep up with how complex the modern workplace has become.
Now this first one, this gets right to the heart of that old playbook. For so long, the myth was that leadership meant control, micromanaging every single detail, every decision. But the reality today, real leadership is about influence. It's not about forcing people to fall in line, it's about inspiring them to want to be on board.
Next up is this idea that leadership is just about the authority that comes with your job title. Look, that might have worked in a much slower, more predictable world. But today, the most valuable leadership trait is actually adaptability. It's that ability to pivot, to learn on the fly, and to navigate all this constant change without missing a beat.
And the last big myth from the old playbook is that a leader's job is to direct, to hand out orders and manage a to-do list. But in reality, the most powerful leaders provide vision. They don't just tell people what to do. They paint a picture of where they're all going and, most importantly, why it matters. That empowers the whole team to figure out the best way to get there, together.
Okay, so we've kind of torn down the old rules, right? So now let's build the new playbook. This next part is all about the modern strategies that are absolutely essential for any leader who wants to be effective today.
So the new playbook? It's really built on these three core pillars: influence, adaptability, and vision. And listen, these aren't just some trendy buzzwords. These are the fundamental skills you need. Influence lets you guide people without having to command them. Adaptability lets you actually thrive in all this uncertainty, not just survive it. And vision? Well, that provides that shared purpose, that why, that truly motivates a team from the inside out.
Let's just zoom in on that first pillar for a second, influence. Because honestly, it's the foundation for everything else. The key phrase here is without direct force or command. See, real influence isn't about having power over people, it's about building trust, communicating well, and inspiring them to act. This has become the new currency of leadership.
So you might be thinking, okay, this all sounds great, but how do I actually do it? Well, here's the trick. It's not just about learning new stuff, it's actually about unlearning your old habits. And that takes a really conscious and very practical process.
Here's a super simple three-step way to think about it. First, you have to reflect. Take a really honest look at your go-to leadership habits. When you're stressed, do you default to command and control? Be honest. Second, release. Make a conscious choice to let go of what isn't working anymore. And third, relearn. You have to actively practice new behaviors, like asking more questions instead of just giving answers, or focusing on the big picture vision instead of just the tasks.
And this quote just nails it, doesn't it? Making this kind of shift isn't just some theoretical thing you think about. The process has to be both reflective, understanding your own mindset, and practical, by actually changing what you do day in and day out.
And that brings us to the final, really big idea here. This whole shift we've been talking about, it's your own personal leadership evolution. It's a journey, moving from one way of being to another. At the end of the day, it all comes down to this one simple truth. The goal of leadership has fundamentally changed. If you only remember one thing from our time together, please make it this. The objective is no longer about command and control. It's about building and using positive influence.
And that leads us to my final, and I think most important question, and this one's for you. After thinking about everything we've just covered, what is the one single, obsolete habit that you are going to commit to unlearning first? Your entire evolution starts with making that one small, conscious choice.